Views right here on Assalam Media on this Friday morning, and it's time now to introduce you to an event that is taking place this weekend. We're talking about the 4th of February. It is the Butterfly Souls Family Day, and this is supporting the children of Gaza and children's rights. A number of activities that will be taking place, and this is on Sunday, the 4th of February, from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock at People's Park. And you are encouraged to contribute to this fundraising effort in support of the healthcare needs of amputee children in Gaza. And joining us shortly will be Professor Monique Marks, who is the head of Urban Future Center at the Durban University of Technology. As an engaged scholar, Professor Marks feels an imperative to work with others in finding solutions to the global problems of inequality, injustice, inhumanity. She is a strong proponent of the ceasefire movement, and as a Jewish woman, she can honestly say that the actions of the Israeli government is not in her name. Professor Monique Marks, good morning to you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Yes, it is clear that, looking at what has been unfolding in the last 4 months in Palestine and in Gaza in particular, the most vulnerable children, women, have suffered. And just looking at the number of children that have been killed, and also at the same time, many have been maimed as well. And situation is not getting easier. And just looking at it from your perspective in terms of how you see this has evolved over a period of time, and why interventions like or initiatives like Butterfly Souls Family Day are so important.
Yeah, very much so. So, I mean, I think, as the world is watching what is happening at the moment, it looks like a ceasefire is not on the agenda of the Israeli state. And so we are anticipating that this conflict will continue for many months to go. This is a very worrying situation because we all know that the healthcare provision is at a very, very low state at the moment in Gaza, and the people most affected are children, but also women, and particularly women that are pregnant, that are giving birth in these terrible circumstances. So I think for those of us that are able to come together and contribute towards the healthcare of children in Gaza, it's a really meaningful contribution to make, so that children do have some possibility to return to a normal life at some point when this conflict is over.
Yes, and also initiatives like these conscientize us in more ways than one, and particularly looking at children, because at the end of the day, we know that there are many children in South Africa, school-going children as well, who are watching as things unfolding, and they are becoming more aware of what is happening to the children of Gaza. So it is also about showing solidarity, and also
Mm.
creating awareness as to what children in other parts and children in Palestine, in Gaza, are going through right now.
Yes, very much so. I mean, we've been speaking to many children. They're watching this unfolding on every single, TV station, and they do have opinions. And many children are really wanting to reach out to their peers in Palestine and are looking for ways to do that make sense to them as children. And we don't want to re-traumatize our South African children, but we do want to provide them with a platform for showing their support and their solidarity. And we're doing this through the creative arts. We're creating a space where children can come and, through a variety of different mediums, make butterflies. And those butterflies will be in the name of a child that they select. That child is usually going to be a similar age to them that they can identify with. And it's very symbolic, and it allows our children to state that they too feel uncomfortable with the situation without having to do it in a very dramatic way. Butterflies are very beautiful, they're very fragile, and they live for very short time. So there's a lot of symbolism there, but they're also magical, and children relate to that. So last weekend, we did have a Butterfly Souls event where we brought together children from various different schools at the Alliance Française in Durban. We were so packed out with children wanting to participate in this event that we actually didn't even have enough space to house all the children that wanted to participate in that. So it does give us an indication of how the children of South Africa really do identify with children in Palestine. And this was across all divisions, in terms of religion, ethnicity, race, age. It was a beautiful event, and we're expecting this Sunday to be another opportunity for children and for families to come together in support of the children of Gaza.
Yes, the idea of each child choosing a name of a child in
Mm.
Palestine. Now, this is so important. This is so relevant, Professor Monique, because when we watch the news, when we read about what is unfolding in Gaza, we read about numbers, we read about statistics, and when one actually puts a name to a child on a butterfly, it becomes more personal because you then start to realize that, yeah, you had a young child, someone who had dreams, someone who had ambition, and all of that has been taken away from them. And this is the reason why I say it becomes a lot more personal. And what happens is the child actually starts to appreciate what the other child in Palestine is actually going through or has gone through.
No, totally right. So it is humanizing, and it's also, giving children an identity, children that have passed away, but also children that are now struggling with amputations and their healthcare needs. They are not just numbers, they are human beings, they are lives that have been cut short. And I think we need to remember that that is very important. I wanted to say something you did mention in the introduction. I am a member of the progressive Jewish community in South Africa. And I think that there are a number of progressive Jews that have taken a stand, and in Israel too, against what the Israeli government is doing. But, I'm struck by what you're saying. I remember going to one of the very many Holocaust museums across the world and going into a room where the children who died in the Holocaust were remembered, but they had every single child's name on that sort of display, and every child had a life that was associated with it. And it really did bring, into my consciousness that these were individual children that died at very young ages. And so for me, they're just huge parallels here. And we can't pretend that this is another form of, of mass oppression and of murder of young children who are in their own right individuals who were hoping to be playful, to be happy, to learn and to grow up to be adults. And that is not going to happen.
Professor Monique, let's just look at the event that is taking place on Sunday. If you could take us through the
Mm-hmm.
event and what are you hoping to achieve in terms of outcomes?
Okay, so there are a number of things that will be happening. So Sunday begins at 11 o'clock, goes right through to 4 in the afternoon. It will be at People's Park. And the reason that we've extended the hours is because people may want to just hang out there the whole day, or they may want to come at different times. It gives people an opportunity throughout the day to come in and out or to be there throughout the day. There'll be a whole set of vendors that will be, providing children with various different crafts and materials to create butterflies or any other form of artistic display that they would like to engage in support of the children of Gaza. So this is both an expression in creativity and solidarity, but also it's going to be a platform for fundraising for the health care of children in Gaza. So each of the people that will be running the stores have said that they will dedicate some of the profit that they make towards this particular fund. And then also what we're going to be doing with the butterflies going forward is to actually be having an auction, probably at one of the school halls later in February, where people can come and buy the butterflies. And that will allow us to not only have another event where people can come together and can also, buy the butterflies of their own children or of other children that have been made, which is a beautiful way to engage in this particular fundraising event. But it also allows us to say to the people of Gaza that, South Africans are generous and they do want to contribute. but they will have something that they can have as a representation of their contribution, and it will be in the form of a beautiful butterfly that has been created by a child. We are trying to make it into a family event that is light, but we will provide a forum where especially children are able to stand up and say what they're feeling and thinking. And there'll be a couple of contributions just from a few adults who may just want to give some background into what's currently happening in Gaza. But we don't want it to be, very heavy on speeches and, political education, but people will be there to have discussions. So if people are wanting to talk about, their own views and hear about other people's views, we're open to all people coming and conversing with each other. Because we understand that, people's understanding shift when you're in conversation. They don't shift in isolation. So it's very important that people feel that across the board, we're coming together in solidarity as South Africans with the people of Gaza.
Yes, and just finally, I'm just looking at the poster and I'm looking at this image which speaks about Soweto, Alexandra, Sandton, Escort, Pietermaritzburg, Durban. And I would assume that this actually ties in with the arrival of Itani
Yes,
Rasalanavo, this long
yes,
walk of Gaza that he's undertaken from Soweto to Durban. And this is the
yes.
day where he arrives in Durban.
That's correct. So Itanya will be arriving on Sunday, and there will be a group of people, and anybody who wants to join that walk can contact me just to walk with him, accompany him on the last kilometer or so as he walks towards People's Park. At People's Park, we will be welcoming Itani, who has taken on, as a Christian person, who has taken on this cause as a very personal cause and is walking to raise funds for the children of Gaza. So it's a beautiful welcoming for him as he comes into Durban. We know that the people of Durban pride themselves on their warmth and the sense of community. So I think let's all come out there, welcome Itani, and really be the warmest place in South Africa as we claim to be, and we really are. Also recognizing that Durban is an interesting place. It has a long history of activism. And we all know about the Durban moment, which is when the trade union movement was formed. That was in Durban. That was the place where trade unions first began to emerge, the Black Trade Union movement. So it's a revival, again, in a way, of that activist spirit of Durban as a city and its people.
Well, Professor Monique, you've actually just whet my appetite to be there. But unfortunately, we are up here, up north as well. But,
Yeah,
we wish you well. And,
thank you
it's
very
a
much.
wonderful initiative. And I'm sure it's going to be a huge success. But for now, we thank you. We do appreciate you taking time out, talking to us this
No
morning
problem.
on Salam Media.
Thanks very much.
Professor Monique Marks with us this morning, and this is once again just to reiterate Butterfly Souls Family Day, which is taking place at People's Park out in Durban. It's going to be a wonderful event. We ask you to encourage yourselves, your families, your children to go to this event. It is taking place from 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. And more importantly, contribute to this fundraising drive, and at the same time, inform, conscientize your children to identify with the children of Palestine. And with that, we're going to go for a break. We come back. We've got one more program that is coming up, and this was what you heard on air, and this was a recorded program. We're talking about the Democratic Alliance facing exodus, with the latest being Sammy Clausen quitting the party, and again the DA, and we've heard the leader of the DA, John Steenhuisen, mentioned yesterday, saying that yeah, you need to toe the party line, and if you don't like it, you are free to leave. And this is the position that the DA has taken. So we will play that interview out immediately after this.